these days.
And Hallie, you've got
Okay,
some more
I'm
from
gonna
your
ask
exit
him.
polls.
You know, it's interesting. Chuck's talking about the graceful removal from the chair. Thank you all
So-
for bearing with me. Chuck's talking about the realignment here and where people are sort of politically. One of the things we're watching on that front is this idea of independent voters. We know that they are going to be potentially a crucial voting bloc here. Vice President Harris had made overtures to this group in the closing weeks of her campaign.
Also spell like up egg.
ICUP. I don't know what Troncat is.
Here. She is winning independent voters nationally, 51%, Donald Trump 44%. Here's the thing. Nationally is not how you win or lose the White House. You win the White House in the battleground states. And look at the state of states, Pennsylvania, right? The most key battleground this year. In Pennsylvania, it's the opposite. It's former President Trump who is actually leading with independents over Vice President Harris in this really important state where the margins could be really close here. You can see it here. He's at 50%. She's at 44%. Again, that's in Pennsylvania. So you might ask, okay, well, how does that compare to how he did 4 years ago? He is overperforming generally with independents now in Pennsylvania. You see in 2020, 44%. He's doing a bit better now in 2024, 50%. And Savannah, Lester, Chuck, Chris, and I'll toss it back to you at the table. This could be really interesting as we watch this develop throughout the course of the night, not just in Pennsylvania, but in some of these other key battlegrounds as well, like Michigan and Wisconsin, which we'll get to later.
Actually, I think Chuck wanted to weigh in.
No, I just think we are seeing something else happen, which is you have a country that's really sour about our politics, sour about the direction of the country, and we now have fewer people identifying with the two major parties according to our exit poll. It's a huge development. Independents are the fastest growing flock. Now,
No, I'm not yapping.
no, if you don't like the direction of the country, you don't like what's happening, and you think there's a threat to democracy, do you have a lot of faith in the two major parties? But the lowest share of major party people identifying with the two major parties in at least 4 elections, it means these independent votes are going to be the whole ballgame. They're going to decide who's president.
We are keeping a sharp eye on the state of Georgia. We can show you where things stand, but we've just had a change of characterization here. Our characterization from the decision desk now is that this is
Georgia.
too close to call. You can see about a
Too close to
267,000
call?
vote difference between the two, with 37% of the vote in. But again, the NBC News characterization at this
Okay.
point,
I'm
too
just gonna
close to
go
call
back to
in
AFK.
Georgia.
We've got a lot of contributors lined up to talk to you tonight. We've got Senator Claire McCaskill, I believe, over at our insider's desk. And Senator, I wonder what you thought about that. What some are seeing is something of an alarm
Why are
bell.
y'all saying, "Hey,
This
yo"?
Loudoun County, suburban Washington, D.C., northern Virginia, where
Chat, why y'all saying, hey, yo?
is underperforming. And as you well know, the suburbs in the battleground states are key to her victory.
Yeah, listen, this is the witching hour. You know, this is when it is very early. We have exit polls. And by the way, if exit polls were correct, I would be governor and John Kerry would have been president. And Hillary Clinton would have been president. So I think we've got to take all of that with a big, giant grain of salt and wait for the actual numbers to come in. Because as we all know, these come in from different places. Typically, rural places come in before urban locations. So I think she's going to be fine in the suburbs. I think, and I don't think the exit polls will actually reflect accurately what will happen with independent voters. I'm not saying she's going to dominate independent voters, but I'll be very surprised if there aren't a whole lot of women that call themselves independents that don't vote for Donald Trump.
At what point in all this do you begin to let out a sigh of relief here?
Well,
Probably,
listen, I think depending on what happens in Georgia and North Carolina, if by any chance she wins those 2 states, then I can breathe again. If she does not, then obviously Pennsylvania becomes even bigger. And let's don't sleep on Nevada. I think that may be the closest margin in this race. I think it may be literally maybe 500 to 2,000 votes separating the 2 candidates. I think it's that close in Nevada.
Well, we're waiting polls.
Yeah, chat, she is right. It is so early that we have no idea. Like, at this point, it's still anybody's game. It's way too early. We don't have enough votes to tell anything specific.
And again, with all the caveats, we are reading tea leaves right now, Sarah. What are you looking at? What are you noticing? And how do you see this shaking out?
So if you look at Florida, you look at Virginia, Donald Trump is running about 4 points better than he did in 2020. But then contrast Georgia and North Carolina, where I should caveat that less of the vote is in. He's running 1 point ahead in Georgia. He's running a little behind in North Carolina, where he did in 2020. And that says to me, perhaps, that the Harris GOTV effort is quite strong, that she's pulling her votes out in places where the campaign organized.
Chat, give me a visual. Red heart for Trump in the chat, blue heart for Kamala. I just want to see what y'all saying.
I think it's on political.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
This is about when you say you pull the bus up and you say, let's go. We're going to hold you by the hand and take you to the polls.
Yeah.
And organizing is the key to any successful campaign.
Absolutely, and you have the Harris campaign touting the fact that, for example, they knocked on 3 million doors over the weekends. It winds up being numbers, though, until people actually go to the polls and vote. And I do think, just bouncing off something that Chuck said earlier,
Here's what we're
just
saying.
to zoom out for a moment, remember
feel like
that
it's
one
pretty
of the
split.
biggest issues of this
Maybe a little more
campaign
Trump.
was change. What people really want is change. And so what you saw in both of their closing arguments was an attempt to argue they're the change candidate. And so what we are seeing, for example, with independents, I think is notable, because I think the person who winds up winning this race will be the person who ultimately voters say, that's the change
And
candidate.
like everything in this election year, it's complicated because you have a
Absolutely.
former president, so there's
That's right.
certain
Vice
incumbency
president.
there, and a
Yes.
sitting vice president, and there's certain incumbency there.
That's a good question. Virginia, I think it's gonna go to Kamala.
Here because
For a couple of reasons.
Vice President Harris, as you're looking at the popularity or favorability rating for President Biden, which is low. And so the question, is that going to be a drag on how she does?
No, thank
To your
you,
point
A.
on the get out the vote effort, this
Steak, what's your prediction?
Steak, what is your
Okay, I'm back.
I think it's going to be extremely, extremely, extremely close. I think Kamala is barely going to win. I think Kamala is going to get either Georgia or Pennsylvania. I think she's going to get one of them. Probably Georgia, maybe Pennsylvania.
Projection in the
Okay.
state of
Yo, we
South
gotta be-
Carolina. South Carolina will go to Donald Trump when all the votes are counted later. And here's where the breakdown right now that Donald Trump, again, the projected winner, 24% of the vote in there, vote difference of about 104,000. But again, Donald Trump will pick up South Carolina. Here's where it leaves us on the road to 270.
We are 27 for Harris and 99 for Trump right now. Trump is in the lead. But remember, we don't have hardly any of the votes yet.
Have closed, they're counting, but we don't have results yet. Still either too early to call or too close to call. Let's go to NBC's Garrett Haake. He's at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida, at Mar-a-Lago. Tell us what the campaign is saying to you.
Well, Savannah, what seems to be calming nerves down the street at Mar-a-Lago is what they're seeing out of Georgia right now, a state you were just discussing, where their key to victory was essentially blowing the doors off in rural turnout and improving their margins among minority voters, Latino voters, black voters. The campaign is seeing, in the same exit polls we're looking at, improvement among black voters, particularly black men, who the Trump campaign has spent heavily for months and months and months to try to win over even just a few percentage points, the kind of thing that could make a difference in a state decided by fewer than 12,000 votes 4 years ago. The other thing that I think has accrued to Trump's favor in Georgia is the resumption of unity among Georgia Republicans. Remember, there was a huge fallout with Brian Kemp, the popular Republican governor there, after 2020. Trump and Kemp made amends, although they rarely appeared together on the campaign trail, the two singing from the same hymnal in the race's closing weeks, along with a lot of these other Trump candidates, could be helpful to Trump in that state.
All right, Garrett, we have a call to make. This is North Carolina, the governor's race there. Josh Stein, the Democrat, takes the race there. He faced off against the Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, a very controversial candidate. And the polls have shown, well, we talked about ticket splitting, where perhaps the
Okay, nobody cares about this shit. Show us president.
down ballot, this perhaps will be an indication of that. Josh Stein, the winner of the governor's race in North Carolina, just
Everyone spam eggs in the chat.
both are jumping to tell me who wants to take.
Let me just say one
We got
small
9
thing.
hours to go here.
One small thing, which is this, because Kristen will get into, I think, how controversial this Republican gubernatorial candidate
You're
was.
leaving that to me.
But just remember, the ticket splitting piece, this is a state that has ticket split president, governor before. That's it, right? So this, I think...
They have a
people
Democratic
look at
governor right now,
That's
Roy
exactly
Cooper.
right. So if somebody's looking at this going, well, the Democratic governor won in North Carolina, doesn't that mean maybe the Vice President Harris is locked? It does
yeah.
not, and just to throw that out there, this is...
watching election as
Yeah,
well.
they're probably
Skibbity.
watching it right now. Chad, I low-key might just stay up all night watching this. It's kind of fun.
Tweets Coffee Beans Super
Steak, I
Chatty
drew you.
$2.57.
Also, I'm sweating over this.
Steak, I drew you also. I'm sweating over this.
Make sure to send the drawing in the Discord so we can look at it.
An adult website, And
What?
so the backlash was massive. This result was
Adult
expected.
website?
The question is, that was, by the way, one of the controversies. I'm giving you the biggest one. The question is, will he drag
Bold
down
Billy super
support
chatted
for former President Trump? We
$4.99.
don't know the answer, but we do
Anyone
know
who's voting,
that
do
in
not let anyone
2020,
else influence you.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good donation. Bolt Billy, I would agree with that, guys. Anyone who is voting, vote for yourself. Don't vote because someone told you someone is good. Don't vote because your parents told you someone's good. Vote for yourself, chat. Vote for yourself. Don't vote for somebody else. Don't vote because somebody else told you to. Vote for who you personally think, not someone else. Thank you for that.
state is to his path. to
Also,
the
a sense
White
that it
House.
might have been slipping away and trying to shore up that.
Absolutely.
They also
North
done
Carolina
something
was
like-
very, very tight in 2022. Trump won it, but it was right up there in terms of narrow margins.
Which is
Absolutely.
and it's a good reminder that even if the electoral
Jasmine
vote count
Blaze,
ultimately
Dolphin,
has a pretty
Brian.
wide
No,
gap,
Jasmine,
these margins can be very
no.
tight.
If one more fucking person says Diddy for president, I am going to crash out and phantom tax my brain. Stop skibbitying Diddy for president. No! 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 Not Diddy for president.
Trump's team seems to be satisfied that he is doing a bit better with those black and Latino voters right now. Similarly, the Harris campaign feels good that she is outperforming with white voters over Joe Biden's performance with them in some of our early exit poll indications in parts of the country right now. One thing they're keeping an eye on. Another thing I'm hearing from senior officials within the campaign as they get ready to start the program here is that they are seeing really good enthusiasm among those youngest voters, those college students in particular right now.
Thank you
They're
for the
talking about long
$10.
lines. You know, let me do
that's
this
a
to
big
start
one.
this
Thank you.
Star-Spangled Banner. I'll give it back to you
Hey, what do you mean 817?
in a moment.
All right, Peter, that is Harris
Holy shit.
headquarters in Washington, D.C. We've got Tom Yamas over at the big board.
Yeah, we're talking Georgia, right? Because it is so close. A reminder here, we're talking about Democrats feeling a little hopeful in North Carolina,
Yes,
Republicans
yes,
feeling a little
super
better about
chatted
Georgia. If they swap,
$1.99,
right, if Democrats win
voting for
North
Trump.
Carolina and Republicans win Georgia, they're both 16 electoral
Okay, I'm
votes.
back.
We're back to square one where we were in 2020.
Chat. Yo, thank you, bot. Okay,
Who's
looks
the one?
like
Who's
right now,
okay? Donald Trump is
Trump
still in the
is
lead.
winning Georgia.
12,000 votes, a little under that. Let's start in Atlanta, the
Trump is winning Georgia right now.
vote in, and let's see how Biden did. 56%. This is actually
Oh,
Cobb County
that's a
tells
big
the story
one.
of the
Thank
Atlanta
you.
metro region.
I made the
Newt
message
Gingrich
at 8:17.
represented Cobb County, and look how Democrats have
for
been able
telling
to
us.
run up the score from Romney in 2012. Clinton flips it, and look how they're growing the margin.
So, okay, chat, I think, look at this, okay? So, Biden got less of a vote than Harris is getting right now in Georgia. So, in my opinion, okay, well, in some counties, but, oh, well, there you go. I mean, never mind,
Worth the
I'm wrong.
discussion there.
Johnny Tentacles,
Clayton
the
County,
Shark
70% in,
Master, super chatted
slightly overperforming Biden. That's pretty good.
$4.99.
We'll keep
I
moving.
low-key
Henry
shouted
County,
in my
1% in. This is one of those
Thank
swing
you,
counties
Johnny
we can talk about.
Testicles, for the
You know,
5.
1% in. I don't know how much we're
Thank
going to be
you.
able to say there. Rockdale County, again, those Atlanta.
Okay, so chat, if Harris is overperforming Biden in a lot of these places, I feel like Harris could take Georgia. I feel like there's a good chance that Harris is going to win Georgia. That's what I'm thinking right now, chat. Do you agree? Do you not agree? I feel like Harris is probably going to take Georgia. Okay, now Pennsylvania, whole other story. Whole other story.
Oh, that's a
No
big one.
idea.
Thank you.
The Moob Dance 3.
What is the move dance? What do you guys think? I agree. Yeah, I think Harris probably going to take Georgia.
Similar to what we saw in 2020, Trump seems to be hitting his marks where he was in the rural counties, in those African-American counties and around the Atlanta region. Democrats are hitting those marks. It's going to be very close. It's one of the reasons why when we click on Georgia right here, it is literally just too close to call, guys.
All right, Tom, we got a lot ahead here. We're going to take a break and then
E7.
another state closing its polls. Which candidate will it bring closer to those crucial 270 electoral college votes? We will be right back.
Chat, we got another state closing the polls. Okay, while we're waiting for this dumbass ad break to go through, I want to do a poll with you guys. Who do you want to win? I want to see if this has changed. Wow. Who do you want to win? Kamala.
Johnny Tentacles, the Shot Master, super chatted $4.99.
Why is that your name?
You should say shot it feels good when you let it out, LOL.
I'm not going to say that, Johnny Test.
Oh, that's a big one. Thank you.
Oh.
GG.
Okay, chat. I mean, I feel like it's still around half and half, a little bit closer to 60-40, but yeah, about 60% Trump, 40% Kamala right now. So basically,
Caden the Gamer's super chatted $2.
Some of you are not old
Some
enough
of
to
you
vote.
in chat are not old enough to vote.
Okay, you know what? Let's do a poll on that, actually. Chat, are you old enough to vote? Please answer this honestly. Like, don't lie, because I genuinely want to know. Are you old enough to vote? Just answer honestly. It's anonymous.
Run never run _1.
Thank you, Runner VR. Okay, let's just answer honestly, chat. Answer honestly. Answer honestly. Let's see. Answer honestly. No. 80% of you. 80% of you. 80% of you can't even vote. 80% of you can't even vote. You're sitting in the chat. W Kamala. W Trump. Y'all bitches can't even vote. What the fuck? 80% of you can't even vote. What the fuck are you doing? What are you spamming for? What's the point? All right. That's so funny. I'm in 6th grade.
7,980 super chatted $2.
I mean, chat.
Him in 6th grade. Skull.
I mean, it's still fun to watch, right? Like, it's fun to see who's the president. It's important and it's fun. It's fun to watch. Even if you can't vote, I think it's fun to see who the president is. You know? Would you guys agree with that?
Wealthy super chatted $1.
Okay, let me do whoa.
Major battlegrounds closed their polls, and the votes are being counted as we speak. That's the road to 270, filling out a bit with some predictable wins and losses in
that's
this
a big
country.
one.
But let's go
Thank
to the
you.
battlegrounds. Virginia is too early to
I
call.
do.
Just 33% of the vote in. We'll
Thanks for the
continue to
dono
watch it.
again.
Ohio, the polls have closed there. It is too early to call, although that one
Yo, Kamala's winning Ohio!
state, we'll see how that shakes out. Pennsylvania, stop me if you've heard Pennsylvania very much during this campaign season. It may all hinge on the Commonwealth. Too early to call there. And in Georgia, we have characterized this as too close to call. So we are about halfway through the vote counting.
I voted for Kid President.
Thank you for that big 50 chat. W Cheds. W Cheds. I love your name now. It's so funny.
Electoral votes just to
I voted for Kid President. I actually, chat, I bet $10,000 that Kamala's gonna win. I might be screwed.
Storyline we're talking about all night, right? We say it, Savannah, Lester, you both said it, the battle of the sexes, men versus women. It gets a little bit more complicated at that, but let's start with the
battle of what? That's a big one.
And you can see it absolutely still exists. So these are exit polls nationally based on gender. You can see, obviously, this is just the vote here.
Chat, these are just polls. Polls don't matter. Polls never matter. They're always wrong.
In a vote break, I'm going to ask.
Chat, I gotta lose $10,000. I bet $10,000 that Kamala's gonna win. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Women, 55% for Harris, Trump 43%. We'll go to men, and you'll see it flips, right? That red slice of the pie gets a little bit bigger for Donald Trump when it comes to men nationally.
Spam pink heart for Hapture 2024. Spam black heart for Diddy 2024. Black heart.
Don't do what that guy says.
And for that, you look at white college-educated women. We've been talking about this demographic a lot here in some of these key swing states. She is doing better with white college-educated women. Donald Trump is doing better with non-college-educated.
You have to be a certain level. Ask one of the mods. They'll help you. Yo, Kid President. Chat, low-key, we do need Kid President. Dude, chat, you want to see Kid President now? Y'all know what Kid President looks like now?
Sarah Fagan, who is here, she was a veteran of the Bush White House, George W. Bush, the political director there, and Senator Claire McCaskill of the great state of Missouri that was once a swing state as well. You were a Democratic senator.
Way back when.
Way back when. So we've talked a lot about the gender.
Chat, Kid President is literally not a kid anymore.
Oh, that's a big one. Thank you.
What the fuck?
Hope you feeling good.
He's a grown-ass man now. Yo, Object, thanks for the 10 again. Chad, he's a big man now.
Super chatted
He's an adult.
$1.99.
He's not a
Dolly
kid.
for president. Lol.
He's not a kid. He's not a kid, Chad. He's not a kid. I'm so old.
Educated women. And the key in this election, I think, is are they going to drag their husbands, their sons, their uncles with them over to the Trump side? Because these are my peeps, right?
Are those the shy Harris voters?
College-educated older women.
Yes.
I live in that place.
Is this the battle of the sexes, or is that being overplayed?
Well, I do think
the battle of the what? cause
and are a critical, if not the critical voting bloc in this election. And, Hallie, you pointed out that according to the exit polls, it's 53% of the electorate. In 2020, it was 52. Now, 1 point doesn't seem like a lot, but, if Kamala Harris drives up her results among women, in these close contests like Georgia and Pennsylvania, like that could be a deciding factor.
I can't believe we haven't actually talked about it yet tonight. Reproductive rights. This is the first presidential election post-Dobbs, the decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. We've seen the potency of that issue. Abortion rights measures have passed every time they've been on the ballot.
Thank you, object.
The Dobbs decision, but we haven't yet had a presidential election. Do you think that issue still has a...
Okay, chat. Kamala has 35. Trump has 95 electoral votes. The next, no, 27. Chat. Kamala has 27 electoral votes. Trump has 99 electoral votes. You need 270.
Especially younger women, but that's an issue that is driving them out.
Sheds_Reddit super chatted $49.99. My school is a fat ass because we did a vote on cookies and whatever cookie won we could eat. Crying face.
What? Your school had a fucking... Bro, chat. This kid's school had a cookie election. Instead of like a real election, they literally voted on cookies. That's crazy, chat.
Performance at college campuses right
Bro, I had a
now,
cookie
whether
election.
you're in North Carolina.
Dude, I have a cookie election every morning when I decide if I want to eat one.
Ground game in all of these states. They have never seen this kind of response on college campuses. So we may have a divide there between kids in college
that's a
that
big
are voting
one.
age
Thank
and
you.
kids who aren't in college.
I'm going to end the video right there.
Just in a few states or across?